What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Bare Minimum with Four-Star Chicago Sports Guys. I am your host, Brandon Duplessis. Unfortunately, my better half, Dustin Jones, was not able to be on the show tonight, guys. He had a family emergency to deal with, so hopefully you guys are here to hang out with me and carry me through this. I did want to talk. This is my first time being on air since the Minnesota Vikings game on Monday night. I do want to talk about that game a little bit. And then we had Thursday night football with a team in our division, guys. The Packers played the Washington Commanders. I do want to talk about that game a little bit too. I'll give you a little bit of a recap if you weren't able to catch that game tonight. And then we're going to dive a little bit into Detroit next week, guys, and what the expectations should be from this Bears team after what we saw on Monday night. All that and more after this.
Windy City banners rocking 4 stars aligned. Dynasty dreams rise, Bulls in their prime. Cubs curse shattered, the victory divine. Fields be running, clock ticking on my timeline. Shot-town heroes, legends never fade. Black Hawks flying, cutting ice with the blade. White Sox diamonds, the Southside parade. 4 stars shine bright, legacies they made. Mike with the crown, air rain, no dispute. Sweetness in the backfield, Walter in pursuit. Bear down Sunday's midfield, battles cute. Chicago.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you again for joining me for another edition of the Bare Minimum, guys. I am flying solo tonight, so help me out in the chat if you can, guys. Throw some stuff at me. We'll talk about it. Visual Joe, thanks for joining me, man. He says, man, I still can't get over Monday night. Yeah, that's what sucks about that Monday night game is, the Bears didn't just come out and get whooped and look like a team that's playing their first game with a quarterback under a new scheme or a rookie head coach. They had it in the bag again. I mean, that's what we watched for the last couple of years with Matt Eberflus. I mean, I forget the odds. It was like 1 in 60 million chance that the guy loses 5 games with a 90% win rate in the fourth quarter. And the Bears just did it again. Only 2 coaches in NFL history, or I'm sorry, in the last decade in the NFL, have given in their coaching debut, their first game as a rookie head coach, have given up a double-digit fourth quarter lead. Matt Nagy and Ben Johnson now. So yeah, it sucks, guys. It's just like the Bears always find a way to make it hurt more than it should. Bizzle Joe also says last year Caleb started slow and got us into position. Yeah, I did want to remind a lot of people. That's a good point, Bizzle Joe, and I want to remind a lot of the people that are hitting the panic button. Caleb Williams looked pretty bad in the Tennessee game last season, the home opener last season. He played pretty poorly. He missed a lot of throws. He looked pretty similar to the way he did on Monday night. And then he really started to kick it into gear. I think it was around week 3 when he played the Colts. I know they lost that game, but he threw a couple of touchdowns. And I think maybe we'll see repetition, hopefully, with Ben Johnson. Caleb takes some time, but he gets better week by week and really all starts to click for him sooner rather than later. What's going on, John? Thanks for joining us. It is just me tonight, John. So whatever you want to talk about, man, throw it in there. We'll discuss it. Guys, I do want to talk a little bit about that game tonight, Thursday night recap. Packers Commanders. Terrible game. I don't know why I sat through the entirety of it. Um, Before I talk about the game itself, if you guys in the chat, you were able to catch the game or not, tell me if you caught this. There's a moment late in the fourth quarter, it's probably already out of reach for the Commanders, but that's irrelevant to what I'm about to say. Jaden Daniels is about to call hike, and the official puts himself between Jaden and the center, and he impedes the snap. He puts both arms out. He's holding the play while the Green Bay Packers are making substitutions. They're making a lot of there's like 3 or 4 players interchanging from the sideline to the field. And the play clock continues to run, and it gets down to 1 second with the official still standing between Jaden and his center, and Jaden Daniels has to call a timeout. And they actually, like, I thought the refs were going to reset the play clock or something, but they just award the timeout to Washington, which they had. They had a timeout. They use it. And how is that possible? Something had to have gone wrong there. Something was overlooked, or there's no way there's that loophole in the system where the official can impede the quarterback from snapping the ball until he's forced to use a timeout or receive a delay of game penalty. So yeah, I posted that to our Four-Star Chicago Sports Facebook page, guys. I took a little clip of it off the TV and shared it. So if you didn't watch that, go watch it. I mean, I am not exaggerating what occurred in any way, shape, or form. It was the strangest thing. I was like, "Why is the play clock still going down?" And then Jaden Daniels looks up and is like, he starts throwing the time. I'm like, "What the hell just happened?" And they even talked about it after. They brought an official on, the guy who sits in New York who waits to be called in, and his little face shows up in the corner, and they asked the guy like, how long is too long in regards to letting another team give substitutions? And he's like, well, I mean, the guy basically said it's really up to the official. There's no set time. There's no amount of seconds. There's no rule in the book. It's just all like, whatever the ref feels is necessary. It didn't make any sense to me. Like, that can't be the rule. I don't know if the officials just didn't know it. But yeah, I don't want to beat that up, guys. I already did. It was strange. Go back and watch it. And I would imagine we're going to read something about it later on this week because there's got to be. Yeah, I'm with you, John. Or Vizzo. Vizzo says that was BS by the ref. I don't think the rules were applied. I think the official just did kind of whatever he felt. And that is as it was explained to us, that is the rule. The officials think that the team needs more time to substitute their players. They can hold the snap and force a timeout. So why wouldn't every team in the NFL just elongate their substitutions, make them last as long as they possibly can, and buy themselves time to force their opponent to use a timeout or receive a delay of game penalty? That just didn't make sense. Yeah, Jedediah looks like, yeah, that rule is for when the refs get a call from the guys running. Yeah, it's from DraftKings. Yeah, the refs, somebody had some money on that game. It was very strange. Like I said, the game was priority out of reach. There was a point late in the game where I was starting to think, man, if the Commanders still had one more timeout, but Commanders lost that game, guys. And I do want to say this too, and this is petty, but I get I get a little satisfaction out of the fact that the guy who caught the Fail Mary ball against the Bears last season, Noah Brown, is an awful football player. I mean, I don't know. Every time that Jaden Daniels got into a third down situation, he targeted this guy every time, and that he just can't put himself where the ball is. DBs just press him out. They throw him around. The one time it hit him directly in the hands, he just dropped it. I don't know why that guy's even on the field on downs like third or fourth. Oh, but I hate to say this, guys, after watching that game tonight, but it is after 2 weeks. I'm ready to. This Packers team is good. It's really good. If Jordan Love, who's now on a 9 game streak without throwing an interception, and that's the big critique over Jordan Love. That's what we all say. If the guy just can't, if he could just stop throwing the ball to the other team, well, he's now on a 9 game streak without throwing an interception. That's third Packers franchise history all time. So if Jordan Love continues to protect the football and throw touchdowns, he still threw the ball, I think, 31 times or something like that. I mean, at least over 30 times. If he could protect the ball and throw touchdowns, that defense is really solid. There's some really quality talent on that defense. This Packers team is good. They're going to compete in the NFC. I don't know that I'm not saying that they're an NFC championship team or a Super Bowl team, but they're better than I think most of us, even Vikings fans, Lions fans, most of us that did our projections over the NFC North, I think kind of counted the Packers out, and they're proving to us that was wrong. And then I think the Bears, who have these needs at pass rush, which I still feel they do, even though they looked pretty good in the first half, but they have this need at running back, and you're watching an organization like the Packers who just go, they go aggressively. They go get a Micah Parsons. They drafted Edrin Cooper. They drafted Venice, and they go get a guy like Josh Jacobs, and it amazes me that other teams who have approached the positions the Bears are in dire need for the same way as we have. We traded for Montez Sweat before we gave him the big deal, but like these other teams, and it's not just the Packers the Packers only strictly. These other teams just find success and they find the pieces that make a difference. And I don't know if it's the guys who are running the show or the players they acquire, but it bothers me every time I see another team's just able to flip a position in free agency. And it's just something this Bears organization has trouble doing. And I guess we'll start with that, guys, because Jonah, everybody who we'll go into this. So the Packers do look like a good football team. They beat up the Commanders, and the Commanders look like a team that have definitely declined from last season. Jaden Daniels, guys, I'm not making a compare. I'm not a person who's jumping on Caleb's throat, so I don't want this to come off as my opinion. The people who are saying Caleb Williams is a bust because of week one would have to in turn say the same thing about Jaden Daniels after what I just watched. The guy threw like 50% completion. And I'm not, I think he was like 24 of 46 or something like that. I mean, I think Jaden Daniels is okay. I think he's going to get it fixed, but like that performance was no better than Caleb Williams. But because Jaden Daniels had a better season as a rookie, they won't react to that as much. And that I think kind of states in itself that that's why you shouldn't react to things one week at a time. And Caleb Williams still has the ability to prove that he's anything that you thought he was going to be before. If there was any ceiling or floor that you had set for Caleb Williams, it hasn't changed yet because we're 1 week into a brand new offense. And as I said last year, guys, he was a rookie, so there's a difference here. But last year, in his debut, his first game in Soldier Field, he played like ass against the Tennessee Titans, and the Bears' special teams and defense won the game, which they almost were almost able to do on Monday night against the Vikings, but they didn't have enough. So maybe this just takes a couple of weeks for Caleb to figure out. If you're 4 weeks into the season, you're hitting that bye week, and Caleb's looking like the guy he was on Monday night, you've got a problem. Without a doubt, you have a problem. And I don't know how patient this coaching staff's going to be. Are we going to see Luke Newman next week? Doesn't sound like it. So they must be a little patient. I mean, you don't want your coaches to react like fans and start, making roster moves after week one. But Jonah Jackson looked like he just doesn't play football anymore. I mean, I know the guy suffered an injury and sat out for a long period of time, but I don't know that he ever got back into shape. He didn't look good. And you have a rookie stud sitting on your bench. We all watched Luke Newman throughout the preseason. If there's a position change on this Bears team that's going to happen early in this season, I don't think it's going to be at left tackle, and it's not going to be a quarterback. It's going to be at that right guard spot. Which it sucks that you traded for this guy. You gave him an extension before you ever watched him play, but you're fortunate enough to have hit what I feel like you in my opinion you've hit on a 6th round pick in Luke Newman. So if that change needs to be made, you need to make that change. But I want to start with the kicker, guys, because this is the simplest thing to get out of the way. It's just I've said this the entire offseason. I appreciate Cairo Santos and his accuracy. Bizzle says, do you think Jalen's wrist injury affected him, or Packers defense is that good? Jaden, I would imagine you're talking about Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed separated his. There was two major injuries, guys, in that game. By the way, if you're a fantasy manager, Jaden Reed dislocated his shoulder or his broke his shoulder blade or something like that, and Austin Eckler tore his Achilles. So it sounds like those guys are both, unfortunately for them, quick recovery to them, but looks like they're both going to maybe be out for the season. Eckler is. I'm not sure about a broken collarbone. I don't know what the duration is on the recovery there. Um, yes, the Packers and Vikings both look like they're going to be. I mean, we knew that Vikings roster is. I think every person who's pretty in tune with the NFC North knew if McCarthy, most fans after watching what Sam Darnold did last year, they had the team had I think 14 wins or something. I mean, if JJ McCarthy can just play, if he's not throwing pick sixes, because that was the difference in the first half, is he protected the ball in the second. And if he can do that, I think Kevin O'Connell can certainly make that Vikings team give that Vikings teams another playoff run because they're a talented roster, top to bottom. And Brian Flores is a great defensive coordinator, and Kevin O'Connell is a great head coach, and they have everything they need except for assurance and certainty in their quarterback position. Um, and guys, again, it's been 1 week. I don't want to count the Lions out just yet. This is my boldest claim. I mean, I've texted guys throughout week one, and sometimes in laughter, and I was being more facetious than anything. But I always you're overreacting to things almost intentionally at a comical level. And the one thing I said after the entire weekend is, of all the things that I've said after 1 week of football, the one thing that I feel pretty sure of is that Lions team has regressed far more than we think. But I don't want to write them off after winning the NFC North 2 years in a row and winning last season at 15 wins. I don't want to say that this Lions team's in the tank, but they got to figure it out too, just the same as the Bears, because it did not look good. Here's the kicker. Yeah. Yeah, guys. The kicker position, like I said, I want to get that. They need a new kicker. I mean, I appreciate the accuracy, but in today's NFL, it's the distance that matters more. It really is. These guys are making 60-yard field goals look like they're a pretty common thing. They're making 50-yard field goals look like you have to be able to kick it. I mean, every other kicker, and it seems like every other kicker on every NFL team can make a 50+ yard field goal. And I do not. I don't know how you guys feel when Santos is going to kick anything over like 45. I do not feel confident, and that's a problem. It's a problem, and it proved to be a problem in week one, and it won't stop being a problem. So I would, I think if that's a position you bring some guys in and you work out, because we've seen the Bears get burned by a kicker before at the end of a quality season. And even if you're not gonna, even if it's a bad season, you want to be losing games on field goals. Um, Jaden Daniels has a wrist injury before a game. Yeah, Jaden Daniels got a little beat up. He also the Herb Street and Michaels didn't see it, but they thought he fell weird. But as he was falling, just before he fell, he kind of stepped on the side of his foot and it bent at his ankle, and he was in some pain. You could tell to finish the last two drives of that game. He kept calling the medical staff off the field, which is not a thing anymore, guys. Like if the medical staff thinks that there's a possibility of injury, you go out there. The player doesn't decide that he's going to stay on the field. So I thought that was kind of strange too. But yeah, this Bears Vikings game, guys. After the kicker, I want to move into. All I read about is Caleb Williams. All I see is Caleb Williams, and you guys know that I'm a big advocate of Caleb Williams. So I'm trying not to be biased here in defending him, but nobody seems to be really concerned with the way our the game was coached. I thought the game was coached very poorly, and I'm going to credit it to Ben Johnson's rookie debut. This being the first time he's ever had to be in control of all of it. Maybe it was just a little too much, but I thought the game was just as poorly coached as it was executed on the field. I mean, I was watching the game tonight, and these teams at the end of half, both teams had all three timeouts. Minnesota at half had two timeouts left, two timeouts they didn't use. And by like the 4 minute mark in both halves, Ben Johnson had used all of his timeouts. That's not something you want to, that's not a trend you want to keep on. If it's not a road you want to stay on, if you're going to be a head coach in the NFL, successful head coach, you better know that at the end of those games, you need them. At the end of halves, you need them when time is running out, and you don't use them. I thought Ben Johnson used his timeouts in this game as just an extension of the play clock, and that means something's not going right. Something in the huddle or whatever, or even if it's Caleb, maybe Caleb called him without even looking at Ben Johnson. Something's wrong. You can't be burning timeouts like that. Successful teams in the NFL don't do that. You use timeouts because your time is running out, not at the end of a game, not because you couldn't figure out within the 35-second play clock, you couldn't figure out getting a play called and getting to the line. So that's a problem on top of the pre-snap penalties, which is, I mean, I'm sure you can look at it and defend it from both ways, guys, but it's always been looked at in the NFL as a coaching problem. I'm not trying to pick on Ben Johnson because he's a rookie. That's what most people view pre-snap penalties. That the responsibility falls on the coaching staff, as far as analysts or former players or coaches or anything are concerned when analyzing the game, evaluating football game. If a team's got 12 penalties for 135 yards, the head coach is the first place that everyone looks. So Ben's got to get that cleaned up. And I was really inspired by his message of like discipline and accountability. And then you come out and you see that and you feel what sucks about this game, guys, is we didn't lose in a different fashion. It felt like the Bears. It felt Bearsy. I'll use that adjective. It felt Bearsy to me. And we gave up a double-digit lead in the second half to a rookie quarterback. Theoretically, I mean, yes, he was in the league last year sitting on a bench, but this guy marched back on you and by down double digits in the fourth quarter. A rookie quarterback, like regardless of how Caleb played or regardless of how Ben Johnson managed the game, what the hell happened with Dennis? What happened? Any defensive coordinator who's confident in themselves in the NFL would tell a head coach, "You give me a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter against a quarterback that's never played a game in the NFL. I got you. I'll take care of the rest. Don't worry about it. And the defense imploded. And you can feed me that they were tired. Well, then they don't respond well because that's adversity. When your offense keeps putting you on the field and you keep having to play, that's adversity. That was your response. A rookie quarterback scored 3 unanswered touchdowns. So, I'm not real happy with the coaching after that game, and I don't feel like it's too far off the dysfunction we've had in the past. I don't think a lot of people are saying this. I'm sure some people are going to come in here and throw some shade at me, but I feel, hey, Patty, what's going on? Patty, thanks for joining me. I appreciate you. Um, Vizzo Joe says the players preach of how detailed Ben is, but it doesn't show. Yeah, no, it didn't look detail oriented. And I thought another thing that I continue to hear Bears fans say, I saw, I don't know who she was, a woman on, I don't, it was a major network, who said in a clean pocket, Caleb wasn't able to look clean pocket. Jonah Jackson scored the lowest in PFF of all, not offensive linemen, football players in the NFL at a 22. That's egregious. So the offensive line problem was not resolved. Sure, you could say you could definitely tell me I thought it was better than last season. Well, yeah, last season was the worst in the NFL, and I don't care what any numbers or what stats show you, it was. And they allowed 68 sacks. That's the only number I need to know. And you could say it was better on Monday, but it wasn't good. It wasn't good. It wasn't good enough. I've continued to say this. It's hard to make a pocket passer out of a guy when he doesn't have much of a pocket. And you watch tonight's game, you watch Jordan Love back there, and I mean, the guy could have a glass of lemonade before he throws the ball. It's got, I want the Bears to finally be the organization where we can just watch it cleanly. Because when Caleb did gain yards, it was a mess. It was chaos. He was extending the play. He was putting himself in harm's way again and again and again. And kudos to Caleb for that. I know he missed some throws. He definitely missed some throws. That's got to get better. If that doesn't get better, Caleb's not just not a generational player and not a franchise quarterback. He's not going to last in the NFL. And he could maybe be a backup somewhere because he was drafted first overall. That'll buy you some longevity. He could talk to Mitch Trubisky on how to sustain a career failing miserably as a starting quarterback, but being a first round pick. So the coaching disappointed me, guys. I thought the challenge was I was at the game, guys. I looked over to my brother sitting next to me and said, "This is a terrible challenge." The minute he threw the red flag, I said, "This is a terrible challenge." The player is down, and it took all of like 15 seconds for the officials to see that and say the call on the field stands. So you lost another timeout there. That felt Bearsy to me. And as far as it's been reported, I don't know how true this is, guys. I don't know the credibility of this. I don't know what source provided it. Apparently, coaches were advocating against it. There was coaches on his sideline telling him, "We don't think you should challenge this play." I don't know how true that is. If it is true, though, we talked all off season about how Ben Johnson hired people because he knows what he doesn't know. Something Dustin said a lot, and it seemed to be that way, considering the coaching staff he put together. But if his coaches are standing on the sideline all telling him one thing and he's not listening, what's the point? Who cares who your assistant coaches are? And again, guys, this is speculation. I don't know what's true and what's not. But if that is the case, that being the case, hypothetically, why'd you hire coaches if these guys who have done this for longer than you, some of them have even been head coaches, some of them have done head coaching interviews. I mean, these guys you have a collective group of experience here. When these guys are all telling you something, it's best to listen. And I like that Ben's the man. He's where the buck stops, but you got to take the advice of others, if especially if most of the guys who are working for you are all persuaded one way. So if that's the truth, that bothers me a little bit to hear, guys. But I it felt Bearsy. It's a disappointing loss because the Bears gave it up. I mean, I thought the Bears gave it to the Vikings just as much as the Vikings took it. You could say JJ made some good throws, and he did. You could say he made good plays, he did. I think the Bears it looked to me as if the Bears just made it easier as the game went on. I don't know if they came out with too much energy and ran out, but the second half was a different story. It was a tale of two halves. We all know that. We all saw that. Another thing that disappointed me a little bit is we were going to throw the book at Caleb Williams. This is what we heard, and then we were going to tone it back. Seeing based on how he responded to it in practice and in preseason, we were going to tone it back. But what about in game? Kurt Warner did a great breakdown of Caleb. Yeah, I agree. I saw that piece, and he's getting a lot of flack for it. People are telling him like, "You're a quarterback, not a quarterback expert." I mean, the guy probably knows more than most of us. And yeah, he kind of defended Caleb Williams. I saw that. I thought that was cool. Um, it sure did seem like this. It did. It felt so Bearsy, and it sucks. And another thing, guys, and I thought we were going to tone it back, and I think that should mean also during a game, and the pre-snap motions were just it wasn't going well. I don't know if Caleb's timing was off with the snap, or if offensive linemen just didn't know the play call, or when a player was supposed to get set. They even had a player in motion get a false start. So these guys aren't really. I don't believe that this offense is 100% understood. I don't think that these guys are up to speed yet. I don't think they're where they're supposed to be. I do. I think that they're behind, which is okay as long as they're progressing. But you got to limit that stuff in a game if you're Ben Johnson. I mean, if you're doing all these pre-snap motions and all these audibles, and Caleb's moving this guy to that guy, and your counts are changing, and you're getting false start after false start after you have pre-step penalty after illegal shift and these and those, like, then you should probably tone it back a little bit. Put the quarterback to the damn line and yell hike, because you've got to find a way to you have to find solution for problems in these games. We can't treat it because they're an offense that's growing, and a new coach and a new system and a new quarterback. Can't treat it like we'll talk about it when we watch the film after this game. No, you have to adjust and respond to the things that are occurring in the game. And I thought Ben Johnson should have, by the second quarter, as good as the first half went for the Bears, by the second quarter, I would have probably started to limit a little bit of that pre-snap motion and all the pre-snap cadences and all that stuff you were throwing at Caleb. I would have probably tried to make him a little more comfortable. He even in the first drive, guys, it looked chaotic. He never looked comfortable to me. And that might be a Caleb thing, but he didn't look comfortable. And I thought the offensive line failed him again. That is not the offensive line that I want to see playing in front of a franchise quarterback for the remainder of this season, guys. It needs to be better than that. We can't have anybody on our offensive line scoring below a 50, because that's the same line we watched last season. And I think Drew Dolman scored like 56, where Jonah Jackson was a 22, an abysmal 22. That's got to improve. I mean, I believe that an offensive line with good players on it can be better than just an entire. Obviously, guys can be better than a five bad players, but you still got your weakest link, and it's still going to affect even the guys who are doing their jobs. They have to make up for more, and then they're able to do less and the things they're supposed to be doing. It's just one bad egg can ruin the whole. And Jonah Jackson clearly impacted Drew Dolman. That seemed obvious to me, and that's got to improve. I want to see Caleb back there with time to make all of his reads. We have a lot of talented players on this team. So if the first read isn't there, I'd like Caleb to be able to get time to see the second, third, or fourth, because there's talented guys. Somebody's going to be open. I believe the Bears have that on this roster. They'll have an open player the way that Ben Johnson. I didn't think Ben Johnson's play calling was bad at all. I thought he schemed it well. I thought Caleb missed the throws when Ben put him there. I have nothing to say about Ben Johnson's play calling. His game management as a brand new head coach was it left a lot to be desired for me, guys. So another thing I want to say, we'll dive into the quarterback here now, guys, because the criticisms of over Caleb Williams are fair. They are. But I think there's reasons to be a little less concerned, or less less to believe any less than you did. Like I said to you, the ceiling that you projected for Caleb before this game is no different than the one you should project now, because the mistakes that I saw Caleb make outside of footwork, which is something I think that's a coaching thing. I think Ben Johnson's got to get that figured out. I thought he just missed routine throws. I mean, sure, there was the deep one to DJ Moore where DJ kind of cut the route short, but all of those intermediate throws were throws you've seen Caleb make 100 times. He can make those throws. And this is what he did against Tennessee last year. He missed those routine throws. He missed that 15-yard seam in the zone down the middle to Cole Kmet. He missed those were the passes he didn't make on Monday night. And I think he'll be fine, because I think he's going to start making those intermediate throws. I don't think that's going to. Now, do I have faith in Caleb's deep ball right now? None whatsoever. And I think Caleb's biggest problem, I said this last year, and I firmly believe it. I am impressed by Caleb's lack of turning the ball over. His ability to protect the football, it is impressive. But he's only thrown 6 interceptions in his career, and you have to wonder when he's airmailing these receivers, is he just playing too safe, where it's not going to allow the offense to progress? Is he? I mean, we're seeing him miss 15 yards out of bounds when on that pass to DJ Moore in this game. Is he just so tuned in on not making a mistake that he's not allowing his receivers to make a play on the ball? Because I believe Caleb can make the throw. I think he can put it there. I think Caleb has an incredibly talented arm. I think that he can put the ball where he wants it, but I think he needs to trust his players and himself. And I hope that's something Ben Johnson's talking about with him every day. Because sorry, Toxic, what's going on, man? FPV says just tuning in as a Lions fan. The Packers are scary as hell. Yeah, I said that a little earlier, Toxic. They are looking like a really good football team. There's no doubt about it. They are going to be there at the end of this season, is what I said earlier. I had them projected at 10 wins. I could see. I mean, I'll still give them 11. I'm not going to say that they're. I don't think they're the one seed in the NFC, but I think they're much better than people in the NFC. The NFC North fan base had kind of written the Packers off as if they would be the team that regressed the most and finished last place, and that's not the case. And I don't know that even with JJ McCarthy, you can count the Vikings out. So as a Lions fan, Toxic, I feel your pain and I feel your fear because on top of the schedules themselves for pretty much every team in this division already being pretty rough, the divisional games just got a little better as far as I'm concerned. For me and you, they got a little harder after this, first couple weeks here of the NFL. I believe that truly. And Toxic, I do want to thank you for joining the show, man. I don't know if you've been here before. I don't recognize the name, but this is for you, man. We appreciate you here at Four Stars, man. Please hit that like. Please hit that subscribe. Like I said, I'm sorry. I apologize if you have been in here before. There's a lot of people. It gets hard to remember. I think they were very well could take the number one seed. Their defense, yeah, they could. I mean, anything's possible. They could be the number one seed in the FC. I still would have to see a couple more weeks. I can't say 2 weeks. And I think the Commanders team, like I said, is not what it was last year. I don't. I think good football teams are, and I think the Packers are good. I think they're going to the Commanders are going to lose to good football teams. I think that's going to be the story for their season. Um, but the Packers looked good last week as well against the Lions. Now, I don't want to get too far. I want to keep. I want to stay on track with the Bears, but the Lions show me regression. So I don't know how the Packers beating up the Lions might have just been the same thing the Bears are going through. Some growing pains. They've got a new offense in place, new defense in place, new coordinators, new play callers. Takes time. So that's what the Lions looked like to me, though. Like they weren't prepared to play an NFL game. They weren't ready for the Packers, just the same as the Bears really weren't ready for the Vikings. To me, they didn't come out in that game as if they were prepared, as if they were ready to play that football game. I think that was one of the biggest problems. 12 penalties for 135 yards implies to me they weren't ready yet to play football. Maybe needed a week or two more. They're behind. There's no doubt about that. Um, but yes, the Packers are a good football team. One of our guys here at Four Stars, Toxic, I don't know how much you watch this. We actually have four hosts. One of them, Dustin, we all predicted the NFC. We all predicted the AFC. We went all the way to the Super Bowl. We did the player awards. Go back and check that show out. Dustin did actually pick the Packers in the NFC championship with the San Francisco 49ers. So um yeah, I mean, the Vegas odds moved on the Packers as soon as they acquired Michael Parsons to being favored to win the North. So trust me, there's a lot of people that agree with you, for sure. I think that they could very easily win the North. The NFC in its entirety, I have to see that. It was a rough first week for that Eagles team. They pulled out a win, but I have to see them for another week or two. I want to see that they didn't completely. I don't know. Like the window didn't shut already on a dynasty because I don't think it has. I still think they have one of the best rosters, maybe the best roster in the NFC. Um, Yeah, still very early. It is. It's very early, guys. Oh, so we're always going to be wrong about these things. Every once in a while you hit on something, but It's really hard. Like that Detroit team to me, look, I like I said, the thing that I didn't feel was an overreaction was saying that Detroit team has really regressed, but I could be wrong. They won 15 games last season. They could come out and win the NFC North. They could win the next 10. You just don't know after 1 week, and that's why I think getting back to the Bears and the Bears fan base, lay off your quarterback. I wasn't impressed with Ben Johnson, but it didn't dictate how I feel about him for the remainder of his career. I'm not saying Ben Johnson's a bust. I think the guy still has all the like I said, I thought the play calling was great. I thought he called plays. I thought he called plays well. He got players open, especially on fourth down. That play that Caleb missed. I mean, that was a good drawn up play. Ben drew it up perfectly, and I think that he's going to be a good coach. He's just got to get the game management stuff figured out, and that takes time. It's a lot of stuff, and there's some guys that are just able to manage it and do it well, and some guys aren't. And I'm hoping that Ben Johnson's one of those guys. What's going on, Foster? Appreciate you for joining me, man. He says it's still the preseason game adjustment for absent. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I don't think that Ben really responded to much in that game. It didn't feel like he did. It felt like we just stuck with our guns, and even as it started to fail, and the Vikings found success because clearly their coaching staff had made changes. I think that Ben just was going to ride it out in hopes that what he was doing, what worked in the first half was gonna find its way home again, and it just the Vikings had clear that we were well past it. The Vikings were not. I mean, it was three and out after three and out on offense, and the defense they were just marching down the field and scoring touchdowns. I mean, I think some of their touchdown drives, guys, were like less than 3 minutes. I mean, they were just burning the Bears. So yeah, it fell apart. And Ben's got to be able to adjust. He's got to be able to respond. I mean, that is adversity. That's in-game adversity, and we need our head coach to lead the team. I mean, if you want your team to respond well, your players to respond well to adversity, you got to do it as a coach. And I thought the defense kind of quit. I'm going to say that as well, guys. That might be a bold claim. I know they were tired and they were on the field a lot, but like I said, that's the difference. I mean, you got to go out there and you got to respond. And if your offense ain't doing shit, but you've got yourself a double-digit lead in a fourth quarter and you're playing a rookie quarterback, it's up to you, defense. I mean, clearly the defense had to understand the offense is not winning us this football game, and you gotta hold. You can't bend and then break. So I don't even like the bend don't break defense. But if you're gonna bend like the Bears started to in the second half, you can't break. And there was multiple times where I thought, God, if that one play just goes another way, if you're able to just stop them on that one play, this is different. The game's entirely different. And guys, I do want to say, the missed field goal set things in motion. Another reason I talked about Carlos Santos not in his inability to kick it very far, but I didn't even mention the fact that that missed field goal just turned things for the worse, and it trickled down. And I was at the stadium. It just got quieter and quieter. The Bears fan base was clearly giving up hope. And you need to address this kicker thing. He couldn't get it out of the back of the end zone. As my brother stated on yesterday's show, he probably could have just kicked it out of bounds and gave him the ball at the 40. That the Bears had to stop the Vikings. They had to stop them. So the kicker thing's got to get addressed. It's a problem for sure. Um, script writers Script writers are trying to rig it for the Rodgers versus Green Bay Revenge Bowl. Pittsburgh and Green Bay are large markets. I don't know that. I don't know that Pittsburgh's going to make their way to a Super Bowl, Jed. Unless they'll. Oh, you mean for the game in which those two play each other? Yeah, that's obviously going to be a story. I saw something about this coming weekend. There's like a bunch of where I used to be matchups. Like I don't remember all the names. DK Metcalf is playing the Seahawks, I think, but there's a bunch of them. Um, Yeah, they're all escaping me now. There's some that are really obvious. Oh yeah, there's the NCAA championship when Michigan beat Washington. Michael Penix is going to play JJ McCarthy. That was one of them. So yeah, already a fun season of football, and it's going to continue to be. This next weekend's going to be fun, guys. And yeah, that's really I think all I got to say about that Bears Vikings game, guys. I think there's a lot of things that could change for the better. I think the Bears made their own mistakes. I mean, they dug their own grave. I don't necessarily think the Vikings just. I don't think the Vikings just came out were just a better football team. For 3 quarters, they weren't. I think that the Bears just got to figure some things out. and quickly if you do intend on winning football games now, which I think Ben Johnson does. Um, so yeah, that it was disappointing. It was disappointing that once again we gave up a game in which I think we had like a 76% win rate or something like that. But those ones hurt more and they feel more frequent as a Bears fan than any other fan base in the NFL. Should Pittsburgh win the Super Bowl? No, but that's never stopped them before. No, I listen. I don't like the Steelers. It's not a team I root for. I don't. I have no fandom towards the Steelers, but I respect the hell out of Mike Tomlin, and I don't ever count the Steelers out. And Aaron Rodgers just threw 4 touchdowns. So I mean, it seems as if that marriage right now is going to work pretty well. But with Rodgers, it's always surrounded by divorce. So we'll see what happens there. Brandon, what are your keys to the Bears' victory over the Lions? Yeah, I do want to jump into the Lions game, guys. I've been ranting for quite a bit here. I think that the Bears need to be able to run the ball effectively for this offense ever to work. The play action thing is really heavily dependent on running the ball efficiently, and I think that you cannot move forward with the idea that DeAndre Swift is a 3 down back that should run between the tackles. This has to stop. I like DeAndre Swift. He serves a very specific role, but not the one that you keep trying to jam him into. Kyle Monangai, we were given all. I got one more before I go to the Lions. The Vikings game, the use of the rookies thing, guys, it also flabbergasted me. We heard so much in camp about how much how far ahead of these guys were. We saw Luther Burden be effective in the preseason, blocking and catching the ball. So I mean, Luther Burden has a purpose on the field, even if he's not getting the ball in his hands. And the guy played like 15 snaps. And Kyle Monangai got no carries. No carries. Oh, by the way, I thought Penei Sewell played a pretty good football game, but no carries for our 7th round running back that we were told is making headway at camp. He's the guy who's taking notes. He's front and center. He's always just desires the coach's attention. He shows that he's attentive. We heard that he was just everything that you could do off the field. This guy did perfectly, and he was earning the coach's trust. So Vizzo Joe, you got to run the ball and you got to use whatever you have, whatever you have at your disposal. If it's Kyle Monangai, if it's Britton Brown, if it's Roshan Johnson, it can't be DeAndre Swift all the time. There's no, I mean, this guy's been in the league for a while. We figured this out. It's not what he's used for. It doesn't work. So they need to be able to run the football. Yeah, I mean, we want to talk about Caleb's inabilities to throw, and I'm not going to make excuses for missing easy targets, but when it came to how, I think the pressure that we put on Caleb with, again, he's throwing over 30 passes. I mean, I think he did, right? I don't, but the run game has to be able to. The way that Ben Johnson schemes his offense it all develops off a successful run game. I'm not saying Ben Johnson can't call plays if the run game's not working, but he needs that. Caleb Williams will need that in order to succeed in this under center role that they have him trying to play. So running the football, and they just got to get healthy, Vizzo Joe, on the defensive side. I wasn't disappointed in though. There was some things that Dennis Allen did that bothered me at the end of the game, guys. I know that your defensive line, every defensive line in the NFL is rotational. You want to keep those guys, you want to keep them with fresh legs. But at the end of the game, Dennis Allen was pulling all 4 starters off and putting all 4 rotational, all 4 depth pieces in, and that's not how that works. I think starters should remain on the field, and you interchange them with these depth players. But when you send Billings, Chris Williams, Dominic Robinson, and Passanier out there together, you were putting yourself at a disadvantage, I thought, and the Bears got burned every time he did it. Every time he did it, the pressure wasn't there, and the Bears got burned. So I think like leave Montez Sweat out and throw Dominic Robinson in on the other side for Dio, or leave Dio out and throw him where Sweat is. Whatever you like, let your starters remain on the field. If it's a 4-man unit, there's no reason you can't have some of your best players out there. So taking all 4 of them off the field at a time didn't make any sense to me at all. But getting healthy on the defensive side of football, I think these players that are out there did their best. They're not your best players. The players did their best. They're not your best players. You need Kyler Gordon. You need Jalen Johnson. You need T.J. Edwards. T.J. Edwards is the motor of this football team. I believe he's the anchor. I think he'll wear the green dot. You need that guy. Jalen Johnson is the best player on this football team, offense or defense. So you desperately need that guy. I mean, he sets the tone. Imagine the advantage that the Bears don't have, or that I should say, I guess the disadvantage they're at when they don't have the guy who eliminates one entire half of the football field. I mean, we take it for granted how good Jalen Johnson is. He is almost never targeted. You guys know Kyle could throw you the stats. I can't off the top of my head. He allowed last season what a receiver would catch in a game. It was like 6 catches for 58 yards or some ridiculous number. So, I mean, that's a major advantage to have over any NFL offense. If you can eliminate one side of if a quarterback just decides early in a game he doesn't trust throwing to that side of the field, he's not going to, you have given yourself a major advantage. And the Bears need that. They need Jalen Johnson. They need TJ Woods. They need Kyler Gordon. We've heard Kyler Gordon's going to be used in this offense a lot more than or defense a lot more than he ever has been. So I think on the defensive side of football, I think the only real chance you got is health. I think this Bears defense will continue to struggle against any team as long as they're not healthy, and especially when you're losing guys in game. I mean, we lost Nashawn Wright for a little bit, and McLeod was playing corner, and I mean, it gets ugly, guys, once you're getting past your next man up. The next man up behind the next man up didn't look too good, and you don't want to be in that position for very long. So health, running the football effectively, and health, and Ben Johnson just being more confident in what he's doing. In regards to him improving, like I said, I felt like the moment was a little too big for me. He was a little overwhelmed. Just be confident what you're doing, man. You know that you know. I think he knows he can do it, and he surrounded himself with good guys. So that's how I think they beat this Lions team, and I think it's going to be tough. This is the Lions' home opener. And Ben Johnson's going back to the city that hates him most. So this one's going to be tough, guys. Um, Run the ball and stop the run. Yeah, Foster. I mean, Dennis Allen would probably tell you the same thing. Most defensive coaches would tell you that's how you win football games for sure. Um, yeah, Monangai needs to carry the ball. Even if you don't think he's that, even if you don't trust Monangai, and I don't think it's a fumble thing because the guy, I think he had like an astronomical record in college football. He had like 300 something carries without a fumble. So I don't think it's that. But they clearly didn't. They didn't show any trust in him. They let him in there for a pass protection play and they let him catch a ball. But I mean, you drafted the guy. DeAndre Swift's not a player. DeAndre Swift's also pretty prone to injury. He's just not a guy I would use as a bell cow. He's not a 3 down back. You keep throwing him into those tackles. I mean, they didn't really do much outside. So every time this guy was getting hit, it's by a 300-pound dude. That's just not the way you use DeAndre Swift. Monangai needs to carry the ball, even if you don't believe right now that he's going to be a very impactful or effective player. The relief for DeAndre Swift alone might be the impact that you need to get better at that position. Because if you don't if you don't trust Monangai to give him a carry in his NFL debut, something's wrong. The things that we're being told in training camp, the things that we've been told, how much this Bears coaching staff trusts him, and how the progressions that he's made under Eric Bieniemy. Where the hell was he? I mean, when he carried the ball in the preseason, he looked like he served the purpose that we drafted him for. He looked like a tough guy who wants to gain extra yards. He could have used that. DeAndre Swift gets tackled, he's down. That's it. He can jump over people. He can't run through them. Maybe Kyle Monangai gets you those, puts you into those short third and short situations. Because when we run the ball on second down, it would end up being 2nd and 7, 2nd and 8, or 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. Maybe Kyle Monangai gives you 3rd and 4. And I think that's where Ben's most lethal. Really, I do. And in short third downs and very short fourth down yardage, Ben Johnson is not a guy you want to be coaching against. Um, Toxic says, I really like Swift when he was with Detroit. I'm not sure Ben is a huge fan. I don't think it's so much that. I think Ben doesn't believe that he can do it all, and I think rightfully so. And I think Ben wants a guy who can do it all. And I think DeAndre Swift is a guy who gets paid more than that, or more than a guy who doesn't do it all. He gets paid more than your typical role player. He's getting a pretty decent amount of money. So yeah, unfortunately for DeAndre Swift, he got the bag. But if Ben Johnson wants to bring a 3 down back in here and a guy who's going to be, a stud, a guy who's going to be a top of the league at the running back position, then you can't. There's no point in paying DeAndre Swift to stick around. So I think Ben Johnson just wants himself an every down back, and I think that he's trying to use DeAndre Swift. I mean, clearly, right? He's trying to use DeAndre Swift in that fashion. It just doesn't work, and I think that he knew that in Detroit. and he's got what he's got right now, and he's going to do the best he can with it. But I didn't. Swift to me, I've said this to the guys on the show before, guys. Swift to me is a really good piece to have behind someone, but you'd have to pay him appropriately. I would love to have Swift as my second back, my relief, the lightning to my thunder. I would like I can leap over people. He's still a pretty explosive player. He can get the ball, take the ball to the end zone from pretty far out of it. I just don't know if you could ever afford to keep him as your backup running back. No matter where he goes, he's a starter, and no matter where he goes, he's discarded. And that'll probably be the case. I would not put it past Ben Johnson to draft a running back the way it's look after week one. If the rest of the season were to be anything like that, that is the position the Bears are taking in the first round. Unless there's some big name free agent I'm not aware of. I don't look at free agents for 2026. But I think this is going to be a tough game, guys. And if I have to, if, this is our preview show. I usually pick the games. I'm very torn. I didn't like what I saw in the Lions, and I didn't love what I saw in the Bears. But because this game's in Detroit, it makes me feel like Detroit has the upper hand. It makes me feel like we're going to be talking about the Bears' growth for another week at least. Then they play the Cowboys, and we'll see how they look in week two. And week one, they competed with the Super Bowl champs, the defending Super Bowl champs. So I don't know where it gets easier, guys. The the Pete Carroll Raiders are not going to be a fun team to play this season. They might not win a lot of games, but they're going to compete. They're going to beat you up too. And yeah, FGB for sure. Purple Jesus, I'm with you, Kyle. Thanks for joining the show, man. But yeah, 100%. It sucks watching those guys win. And I'm glad we can, that's definitely one of the things that, any fan in the NFC North that's not rooting for the Packers, we can all kind of, there's some camaraderie there, right? We can find some common ground is we all hate the Packers. We all hate it when they win. And I really wanted to watch Jaden Daniels, the Jaden Daniels I was watching last season. That was a fun player to watch. I wanted to see it. And he just didn't look the same, guys. And I'm not going to I'm not going to pull a Bears fan base thing and say, oh, Jaden's done. He's a bust. I'm not going to regurgitate that stuff. He just looks like he's regressed. And he's in the same system. But it looked to me like, and it probably for the best in regards to his health, but I think it's what made him a special player. So there's no way it's not going to work. I think that um, Kingsbury is trying to take the run out of him. I think that they're utilizing that less. I think that he's discouraging. I do. I think Herb Street even said it tonight. They're trying, it seemed as if they're trying to protect him more. But risk comes with reward. Reward comes with risk. If you told me that Jaden Daniels might get injured, but he's going to be 1,000-yard rusher every season in the NFL, I'm gonna tell him to run the damn ball. Because those guys who provide that threat, like Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, those are some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And if Caleb Williams can do what he did on Monday night with his legs while also throwing the ball effectively, he can be one of those players too. That's why the ceiling for Caleb has not changed in any way, shape, or form for me, nor has the floor. Caleb Williams could still very easily fail as an NFL quarterback, but I don't believe he will. And I didn't believe he will before that game against the Vikings. And I don't allow one game in one season with a new scheme and a new coach to affect how I feel about a player's career, because that's just crazy. It's crazy to do that about any player at any position and any sport. That's just not how sports work. Um, Everybody has the ability to get better. Maybe not physically, you age, but even some of the oldest players in the NFL look better. You know, Sam Darnold, Joe Flacco, both had quality seasons for football teams. Not, but if in the last couple of seasons, these guys are older. So let's not give up on the young guys. I mean, it's just crazy that a Bears fan even has to convince other Bears fans of that, guys. If you didn't like Caleb before, then I get it. You're not going to like him anymore now. But if you were a person that actually supported and believed in Caleb Williams and week one changed your mind, have some perspective. Ben Johnson failed too. I thought he did. If I gave him a grade, it'd be a failing grade. You have to anticipate Ben Johnson will grow as a head coach and he'll learn how to manage games better. So the future is still bright as far as I'm concerned. I still believe in Ben Johnson. I still believe in Caleb Williams. I think it's going to be a longer time process than we initially thought. Than I initially thought. I thought this could happen quickly if these guys. Ben Johnson is this generational talent of the play caller, and Caleb's a generational talent of the quarterback. I thought that it would maybe happen immediately, but that's just not the case. Doesn't mean it won't be, but it's not going to happen sooner rather than later. This is going to take at least a couple of weeks of this. But by the time the bye week comes, guys, they need to have this figured out. But I think it could take as long as that. Um, So yeah, hoping for improvement, guys. Trying to. I know I'm tired, guys. Sorry, I don't have the most energy, but I'm trying to shed a positive light on things. Like I said, Caleb will make those routine throws. Ben Johnson will learn to conserve his timeouts. Those things will get better. The penalties. I mean, I don't think they're gonna have more than 12. Knock on wood, but I would imagine that that improves at least slightly, which is improvement, right? So that's what we're looking for, guys. That's what this season was about. Improvement. It was about patience. It's funny. You forget about you spend your whole off season saying like it's gonna take time. There's gonna be bumps in the road, ups and downs. And the first down we approach, we're all running around like our hair's on fire, looking for the exit. Stick around though. I do believe this, guys. No matter how good it gets by the end of this season, it does just get better from here. I don't think the Bears are going to look any worse than they did in that game on Monday night, at least in the second half of that game on Monday night. Um, Yeah, Purple G says that's my favorite part of the Bears fighting game, raising knuckles to random Bears fans and saying Packers. So yeah, there was actually a group of fans chanting next to us, FGB, fuck Green Bay. I thought that was pretty cool. We were at a Vikings Bears game, and the fans came together collectively to chant against the Packers. Um, I got a kick out of that. Guys, I appreciate you hanging out with me. Like I said, Dustin had a family emergency, so I figured I wanted to, come out here and chat with you anyways. I didn't get a chance to talk about that Bears Vikings game until tonight. So thanks for hanging out with me. Purple Jesus, Kyle, appreciate you. Vizzo Joe, Bears fan for life. Phil, what's going on, man? Toxic, Foster, Jedediah. Toxic, thanks for watching for the first time, if it was. Patty, thanks for joining me. You were here earlier. All you guys, appreciate the love, appreciate the time and attention. Be good, be safe, guys. Take care of the ones you love. I do want to say this real quick, guys. I don't care what your beliefs or your opinions are. I don't care what side of the aisle you stand on, what God you worship. I don't. You do you. But if, especially in an industry like sports, guys, sports, because there's there are some things that have context in which requires debate, and sports is one of them. We disagree. We try to convince each other of who's maybe right and who's maybe wrong. At the end of the day, if somebody's not going to convince you of changing your opinion, then you move on. And if somebody's not going to embrace yours, then you move on. And such is the same in life, in politics, in religion, and whatever it is. There are subjects in life that will always require disagreement. There's context that requires disagreement. And there's subjects that require interpretation. People are going to disagree. I don't know what the purpose was. I don't know who behind whose order it occurred. Killing people for the rest of the world to see, their children to see, their wife to see, a person, Charlie Kirk, whoever it is. It's not normal. It's evil, and it doesn't belong in society, and it can't happen. And it's got to stop. That violence needs to stop. It's not the answer to anything. I think this country's starting to feel one way versus another, and then I think there's people at power that want us to be at ends meet. I think they want us to split hairs, guys, and I think there's no point in which anybody ever disagrees with you where there's any reason to harm them. And I know most of you guys who hang out with me and watch the show, the guys who show us the love. I've met some of you. You know, Kyle, you were on our show. I don't believe that I know anyone like that, but it's still something to be said. Prayers to Charlie Kirk's family. It sucks. He's a young guy, 31 years old, two children. Maybe who knows? Maybe if the future president of the United States. I don't know, but didn't deserve to go out the way he did. Um, and nobody does. And we shouldn't take it's, things so literally. We shouldn't take things so seriously. Um, If there's somebody that doesn't, you just can't seem to get along with, somebody you just don't agree with, don't spend time around them. Don't watch them. If it's somebody who's in the public eye, just don't watch them. Don't follow their content. Don't do it. Sit there and seethe and hate. It just doesn't make any sense. Um, so yeah, it's a tragic tragedy, guys. It sucks that because of social media, we're a lot of people are for some reason kind of into this, but we're so exposed to the violence too. You see it, it's up close and personal. It's hard to get the images out of your head. It sucks. It's tragic, and like I said, prayers to him and his family, guys. Thanks for everybody. Yeah, horrible, 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 horrible. No matter what you felt about him, guys, you have your right to dislike anybody. You could have disliked Charlie Kirk. That's not right. It's terrible. It's tragic. If do you if you spent your life thinking that when you disagree with somebody, there's a possibility you got shot in the neck, you probably wouldn't speak to too many. You probably wouldn't disagree with too many people. And I think that's the purpose here. Is like we should be able to disagree with one another without the threat of violence. Um, But yeah, that's it for me, guys. Again, I appreciate you hanging out. Sorry the show is a little shorter than usual. Dustin will be back, I believe, by Monday night, guys. We do have a show Saturday, I think. I'm not sure. I think the Northside 9 at noon, guys. Sean and Kyle breaking down the Cubs will be, I think. I think that's going to happen this week. I'm not sure, guys. So tune in if you see the thumbnail pop up. Tune in for the Northside 9 at noon on Saturday, guys. Always a good way to catch up to the Cubs. I don't have Marquee Network. I don't really watch them. I will watch Kyle and Sean's podcast, and when I'm finished with it, I feel like I know everything I need to know. So as far as I'm concerned, they're doing a really good job over there. They have some big time guests too. Mike North was on the show. Check that show out, guys. It's growing really fast. And then we're back for the House All Hangover Monday night, guys. After this noon showdown with the Detroit Lions in Michigan. Hopefully the Bears can sneak out a win on the road. That would surprise me, guys, but it would be pretty detrimental to any playoff chances they might still have. And I don't say we're counting them out after week one, but like I said, this schedule doesn't get easier. It really doesn't. There's no break. So you got to win them where you can. And you don't want to fall too deep in the hole before you start winning games this season. But the wins will come. They will come, guys. Um, we appreciate you guys. We love you at 4 stars. Please, if you haven't hit that like button, guys, please, please, please. We at least have a lot of views, pretty low number of likes. I don't know if that's just a reflection of our content. I hope not. But if you do watch the show, give that extra few seconds to click that like button, guys. Subscribe to us. Share it with somebody who you know likes sports, who's interested in joining a conversation about sports. Because we more than implore that here. Have you guys have a safe night, guys. Have a safe morning, I guess I should say. Everybody take care of themselves. Go club, go Cubs. And we'll catch you on the next one, guys. Thanks.